Let's carry onwards and upwards. Okay, Gail's question. So there's multiple questions. We may not go through all these, Gail. But I have a physical space in town that is ready and waiting for business. But in the past, I've had a business and each of them has taken over my life in less than favorable ways. How do I define my offering and availability when I feel like my life is in constant flux? So it's a great question. I mean, how many people feel like your life is in a constant flux? I think it goes with the territory of being on a little ball flying through outer space. There's no guarantees. There's no certainties. Life is always in flux. We're evolving beings, and we're living in a time in our history where things are crazy, especially if you pay attention to media. It's crazy right now. So I think it's like, there's some pieces. My one suggestion is like, we need to own our schedule. So I've had a saying that anybody that's been following my work for a long time is schedule your success. So create a 30-day calendar and like take a step way back and reestablish rhythms, reestablish routines, and set yourself up for success. So that might mean that you do more crock pot cooking that require less time in the kitchen and more time doing the other things that you enjoy. That lifestyle success might be like making your lunch the night before. It could be like these simple things of like, what are the rhythms and routines that are going to set you up to be your best, and establish those, commit 100% to those, so that as you start to incorporate more of your business and opening a space, that those take priority over the business. That, shit's always going to happen with our business. We're always going to have fires that have to be put out, but we have to make ourselves number one. We have to, like, our energy and our mental and emotional bandwidth have to be number one in what we're doing in our life. And so if you schedule your success and you really like own it, that you are your boss. That's why we become entrepreneurs, is you're the boss. I mean, I have a buddy who has a store here on Salt Spring Island. They only open 4 hours, 4 days a week. If you want to buy stuff from them, you go during those hours. Otherwise, you're not buying anything from them. And they're doing just fine. Like we don't have to do 8 or 9 hours a day. We don't have to do things a certain way. And I highly suggest, this has been my arc for 17 years, is I want to build my life and create a business around my ideal lifestyle. That's why I play golf every single day. It's why I only work 6 hours a day. It's like, I have done this with 100% intention. And it's like, it's so important to me, because I want to live my life. I don't want to be in my business all day, every day. It's why I've built a team. I could probably have more money in the bank account if I had less people on my team, but I'd be working 10 hours a day. I don't want to do that. It's not worth it. So for you, it's like getting really crystal clear about your rhythms, your lifestyle. What are your habits? What are your morning rituals? What are your afternoon rituals, your pick-me-ups that are going to keep your energy strong and mighty through the afternoon? And what are your evening rituals? Getting clear on those things so that you're empowered to own your schedule and say no and say yes to the things that you want and don't want. Anything else anybody want to add there?
I want to just say this is another karma piece for me. So this has been a lifelong, but this year, my mantra has been that both healthy Claudia and successful Claudia can exist in the same reality and in the same life. And that's because those core beliefs were kind of aching into my reality, which is like, I have to burn myself out to get to where I want to go. I have to work hard to get to where I want to go, like all that. And so when I read your question, it was really, to me, I read a core belief that, like, if I do business, I have to sacrifice my health and well-being. And that's not the case. So I would say also, the first thing I thought of is, we're a byproduct of all the people that we hang out with. So align yourself with people who are doing life and business the way that you want to do it, that are, living their life, prioritizing health and well-being and personal life. Like for me, I don't take on clients who expect me to work weekends anymore, because I won't. And so there's personal boundaries that you have to set first and foremost, like design how it is that you're going to live your life before you start, and then where your business is going to fit into that. And then everything, the people you collaborate with, the clients you take on, the type of work that you do has to fit those priorities, or else it's really easy. In fact, every single thing that you encounter and every person you encounter in the world is going to have their own priorities. And so it's really easy for you to start. Like for me, I'm a really malleable person. Like if I let other people dictate my life, I would constantly be in a sense of, like you were saying, feeling like you're in flux and not sure what you're doing. So anchor in what it is you want your life and your day and your routine to look like, and then design a business around that. And then hang out with other people who have those same priorities.
So can you repeat your mantra again, please?
I think it was something like successful Claudia and healthy Claudia can exist, and healthy, vibrant, juicy, all the things Claudia can exist in the same reality.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I've done a lot of deep work around that. So keep it, but it's a day-to-day practice.
I always look to Stephen King as a role model. Not that I'm a huge fan. I do like his work, and you might have your opinions on him, but we can all agree that he's prolific and a successful writer at his, bare of his craft. But he sits down at 9:00 and he writes till 5:00, and that's it. Doesn't matter what he's doing. He just clocks in and clocks out. He could work all night if he wanted to, but he set his boundaries. I remember reading that once and I was like, that's the way to do it. So when I'm done after, I stop at 4, that's family time. I don't think about what's happening the next day. Maybe I'll write a list at the end of the day. What am I going to work on tomorrow? And then that lets me kind of say, okay, I'm done. And then I clock in the next day and go, all right, now what am I going to do? That's the only way you can do it. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself insane. You're going to, like Claudia said, burn the candle, both ends or whatever, like burn yourself out. And it's a real problem with entrepreneurship,
No, I love that. Thank you. My husband and I have rental properties right now that we're trying to get rid of. And that's exactly the reason. It's like, I swear to God, when we're on vacation in the Caribbean, we'll get a call since like, are you kidding? We haven't heard from you in how many months? And now you want, it's like, really? Yeah. So we're trying to get rid of that for that reason, so we can manage our lives better.
Yeah. Take your life back.
Our current reality in COVID and the pandemic has really shifted a lot. So I think everybody's in that realization of, if you didn't realize that, we are energetic beings before this whole thing happened. I feel like people are really making decisions about, okay, what is the energetic expense of this thing not being fully clean or fully clear in my life? And does this need to go? Does that need to go? So I think that's an important thing for business owners for sure, because it will require focus for you to create whatever it is you're doing. And so anything that's pulling at that needs to be worth it.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're getting rid of them, because I realized I can't. Well, in theory, it should be simple to collect rent, manage minor repairs and stuff like that. Not a big deal. It still disrupts my focus from what my passion is. And so at that point, I realized, no, this simply has to go because it's not where it kept smacking me sideways, with my focus. And I'm like, no, this is not working.
Alternatively, if it's still a worthwhile investment, you hire a property manager that deals with everything. The operations person that I hired and will be hiring now because she's not a fit is, they were doing all my invoicing, all my contracts, all of the outreach, all of the paying of clients, that's adds up to 15 hours a month sort of thing. It's a lot of hours per month that I just I don't need to do them. And so if you can hire a property manager and pay them a chunk of what you're making, and it still feels like a worthwhile investment, then you could go that route too.